first off, I want to say that, addiction and recovery is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. And I'm a spiritual coach, master healer. I'm a 3-time author. And in my most recent book, From Block to Powerful. And I help people who have reached a certain amount of success. And in the case of everyone listening out here, you reached a certain amount of success in your recovery. You've gotten to a certain point, and it's like you hit a ceiling.
Mm,
You're hovering at this set point, and you know there's more for you. You absolutely know there's more, and you know you're kind of stuck, and you know you've got some sort of subconscious blocks. You have no idea what they are, and everything you've done in the past has is not working for you right now,
mm,
and you're so aware of that, and you just want some clarity on how to move forward, move to the next level. And those are the people that I work with, whether it comes from, addiction work. People who go through the 12 steps have done a lot of
mm.
personal work. I love working with them.
Yeah. Yeah, what type of blocks do prevent people from getting to where they supposed to be? Let's say you got a woman, she's successful, she's a businesswoman, she got the house, she has the kids, she look nice, body nice, but there's just something inside of her that just ain't right. Well, how will you help a woman like that, Cheryl?
Well, it's always subconscious blocks. Blocks that are stuck in our subconscious, patterns, you can call it patterns, conditioning that started in early childhood, even as a baby, an infant, even in the womb. And
Mhm,
so those exist through life, and as we get older, those patterns grow and grow and grow and develop and develop and develop. And when you're in recovery, what's happening is you're doing the personal work and you're shifting some of that at a certain level.
mhm,
You're creating some changes using your mind. So that woman, whether she's successful in business, whether it is as a parent, you can be a super successful parent, just life in general. What happens when we're doing personal work, we're developing more light in our beings. When we are stuck in the throes of addiction, we are in a dark place. Our light is not shining. Those dark patterns have overtaken us. And so we start to come out of that. And so it's all energetic. How you
mhm.
know how different you feel when you're feeling light and bubbly. That is actual light. And so as you do that work, that light is always going to shine on the next piece of darkness. It's not like you go into recovery and you just go and it's one and done. You see everything that you need to heal, everything you need to move beyond. No, it comes in pieces, in stages. So there's a
Mhm.
next level to me after the 12 steps. So using that woman, for example, she's built her business, her health is great, she, might be a great mother, great wife, whatever role she's playing. But those patterns, she's worked through them to a certain level, and then her light, her level that she's at, shines on the darkness, and the pattern becomes so evident, and it's just like festering there, and it wants to be healed. But the problem is everything that she's done in the past isn't working for her now, and
Yeah.
that's where I come in. I help people learn how to access their subconscious. First, I help you do it.
Mhm.
Then and as we do that, and I'm gonna share with you all today some of the steps that you can do at home. You so it's about accessing the subconscious so that you can then release those blocks, clear them, and heal them, and move to that next level of empowerment, that next level in your evolution, the higher, the deeper connection to the God within you that will then carry you forward.
Yeah, you talked about the subconscious mind. You saying there are people that doing things and they not even conscious that because it started way back in belief system. You was talking about the childhood and they didn't develop all these belief systems and perception and perspective on life. So now you're saying a lot of things today, even though we're reacting to reality today, a lot of it Is it safe to say we're responding to things that we're not even conscious of that might be a belief we got when we was a child?
It's absolutely correct, Vernon, and so if you think of it this way, we are all so many of us are so conditioned to not feel our feelings. And the number
Mm,
one trauma, and this is actually in psychology, in science, this is classified as trauma. When we grow up and we don't have a strong emotional resource, even a poor emotional resource for
mm,
ourselves, that is traumatic. It is ongoing. It is a human need to express our emotions. And when we're really tiny, if we don't have someone to turn to with our emotions, if we learn to hold it in or we're
mm.
criticized, there, don't cry. You know, all
Yeah.
men have heard come on now,
Oh,
boy.
yeah, yeah. I'm already
Oh,
thinking
man,
about it. Oh,
you
yeah.
know, so damaging. And so science has also proven that trauma is imprinted in the brain through physical
Mm,
sensations and emotions. And all of that is stored in the right brain, not in our left brain. The left brain is our conscious brain. That's
mhm,
where we think, we have linear memories. So any and all of the traumas of the past, we don't remember them in a linear fashion, period. If we're having a linear memory, I have to say we're kind of filling in the blanks because it's been proven that in that imprinting, the right brain can only store fragments of memories.
mhm,
Fragment. And the trauma is not so much about what happened. Let's say it's sexual abuse. I've dealt
mhm,
with a ton of sexual abuse. It's not so much about what happened. It's the lingering feeling of uncertainty through life, that lack of safety and stability, the lack of trust and faith. We carry it with us wherever we go.
yeah,
And with addiction, my personal opinion, this is not proven, but just from what I see and all the people who are in recovery that I've worked with, they're humans who feel very deeply. They're sensitive, they feel so deeply, and holding in all those emotions is just too much, and that's one of the patterns, is to learn to stuff your emotions. It's not okay to express them.
mm,
Guilty over here. That's how
yeah,
my parents didn't have the wherewithal. Did yours? To be your
no.
emotional resource?
Right. All remember is growing up as a child, and older people say, "Why are you so angry? You too young to be so angry." And to be honest with you, that made me angrier because I didn't know why I was so angry until I got to recovery. And I started doing that inner work through the 12-step process. Now what happened? I learned that I grew up without a father. Okay. I learned I was always very outspoken, but I was raised in a house that said, children are to be seen, not heard. So in other words, so when I have a feeling, I don't know how to express it. So what I used to do, I used to go out there and fight and lie and then start drinking at a young age. So what I'm saying is those feelings that we don't know how to express, is it safe to say they gonna come out some type of way?
That's right. They're going to come out in some type of way, and so for you, the anger is always sort of a cap. Most of our emotions are a cap over something else, and what I find anger is often a cover for deep sadness. The sadness that you grew up without a dad, the sadness that nobody understood you, the sadness that you weren't seen and heard exactly as you were, and so the anger feels safer because we can do something about it. We go out and fight, and then
Yeah,
what happens, eventually we get to the stage everything just gets to be too much, and usually the first substance we discover is alcohol.
yeah.
Hello, me
Mhm,
too, early on, way too early in my teens, and so we drink, oh, and then we don't feel we're something's different, this is actually better. The
mhm.
reaching for a substance, the reaching for something is that desire to feel better, where if we had the healthy pattern, it would be reaching for an emotional resource, going to that person we could trust to talk about our feelings and then and having the skills to feel those feelings fully, then we release them, and so we develop a pattern of always moving beyond our set point. So even
Okay.
as a teenager, when you got into fighting and drinking and all that, if you had that emotional resource to begin with, that never would have happened. You'd be
Yeah.
like, "Why do I need to drink? Sure, I'll have a beer
Right.
with the guys. No, I don't wanna fight." You start to walk away, you won't even attract fights, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
attracts like.
And see, the thing about it, we make up this person to survive our environment, right? 'Cause, get to the 12 steps. And again, doing the work, I find out a lot of my emotions and how I deal with things was really survivor skills. I had to survive my environment.
That's right, because you didn't learn the survival skills of emotional awareness, emotional intelligence, energetic intelligence. Because one of the
Yeah.
things you probably know now, oh, you're feeling a sensation in your body. Oh, it's an emotion. Oh, what's that about? The body will often let us know, and if we know how to manage that, then we
Uh,
can we can move beyond it. And I have to say, from a higher perspective,
mhm.
I believe that all our souls chose our path in life, chose our parents, whether present or not present, as
Mhm.
opportunities to learn and grow and evolve through and to become closer to God is the ultimate realization. And
Mhm.
so no, I do a lot of chakra readings. I do readings. I've been doing readings for decades, and
Mhm.
so I have to say I'm kind of a real pro at it. And I
Okay.
can see whether somebody is a young soul or an old soul. No young souls sign up to be addicts.
Okay.
Nobody. It's
Okay.
only the old souls will put themselves through that so that they
Yeah.
can learn and grow through it and rise above it. And it doesn't end at the 12th step. I
Mhm.
invite you all to think that you're meant to keep going well beyond. It's not about reaching that set point and staying there, because you'll notice how many times in your recovery do you feel you're so grateful, you feel fulfilled, you
Oh,
start to feel different, life is different, the gratitude is overwhelming, and then
overwhelming.
yeah, and then you
Mhm.
reach a point where, oh, it's not quite the same. How come I'm not so happy about this the way I used to? What happened? It's because you're meant to go to the next level, that you can reach that again, but at a higher level.
One of my friends are recovering. I actually said that. I said, my spirit told me that this thing is beyond just the 12 steps. And actually my spirit is what told me to start this podcast. Have no, I didn't have no, like, I'm gonna be a podcaster. I heard my spirit say, start a podcast. And I'm actually reaching more people with this podcast. So I understand what you're saying.
Every single time we don't feel our emotions, we're abandoning ourselves. Every single time we put the other's needs and wants before our own, unless there are children, we're abandoning ourselves. And so I was the codependent. My first marriage, I was married to a very abusive alcoholic. He was actually quite narcissistic. Nobody knew what a narcissist was back then. It wasn't talked about. And,
Uh,
oh, how I abandoned myself. And so the
mm,
codependent just keeps putting all the focus on the one with the addictions, right? So
mm-hmm.
both sides contribute and are equally guilty. And so as the one, even when we're in recovery, that's one of the hardest things to unlearn, is to stop abandoning yourself. Even in my business, as a healer and a coach, I would say I really think every healer has abandoning the self issues, because it begins. so early on, as Gabor Mate talks about, it's usually the lack of attachment with the mother. We learn
Mm,
to because the mother doesn't know how to be that great resource for us because she didn't get it, and
yeah,
so we have this yearning for that deep love and that deep connection, and so we learn to put our needs aside, and we have to find a way to get it. Gabor Mate, speaks about that and writes about it, extensively, and so we grow up and we learn to abandon ourselves and put the other first because it's one of those patterns.
yeah,
It's the dark thing in there, and the subconscious belief underneath that is often I'm unlovable. It's not that I'm
mm,
not loved, but I'm unlovable, and we learn to live our lives for someone else. I just or for others. I finished working with a woman recently, and she said it's and her father, chronic abusive alcoholic, and her mother so codependent, but she learned to lean way too much on the daughter, and the daughter became the adult. The daughter became
mhm,
the adult in the house. She said, "Here I am in my 60s, and I feel like I've always lived my life for everybody else. I don't know what my life is. I don't
yeah,
know what it means to live. I wanna have my life. What is my life?" And it
yeah,
was going through that and releasing all the pain, the trauma, and she had done, I mean, a decade. She spent thousands of dollars after she's been through recovery, early on.
mhm,
She never really drank. She saw the damage of it, but as the codependent, the ACOA, she went through all that.
yeah,
And so my short program is 10 weeks plus a bonus chakra reading, 11 sessions, and a
mhm,
lot of meditations. I teach you how to become your own energy worker. She released all that, and she
mhm,
discovered why she's here. At the higher level, she
yeah,
spent, I was saying, thousands of dollars on training to become an energy healer, and she said, "I'm actually not an energy healer, I'm a transmitter." She saw
mm,
exactly what her spiritual work was in the world and could own it and started to live her life for herself, and her husband
mhm,
also serious, addiction issues and had been and in recovery and for a lot of years, and he was an artist. So many addicts to me, it's all sacral chakra stuff, are actually artists in so many ways. They're very creative, expressive people, and they've learned to
mhm,
hold that in. And it was funny because she would say to me, "Are you working on my husband? Are you doing stuff to him?" And I said, "No, why?" She said, "Because he's really becoming a different man." As she
yeah,
was healing and growing, it affects everybody around you. So he
yes,
couldn't stay the same. And so often in relationships, what'll happen is in marriages or even, relationships, the relationship will improve tremendously or it'll fail.
oh,
So
yeah, yeah, I have seen sometimes that the other person, the codependent person, they begin to rely on you being defective. So when you start healing, fear sets in because they get their self-worth from trying to take care and fix you. Have you ever come across things like that?
oh, yes. Yes, it's the dance of intimacy. Oh my goodness. And so once you're aware of it, just like you, Vernon, you're aware of it so you can see it, and then it's helping the other, releasing what got them there in the first place, and then giving them the empowerment tools. You're reprogramming your subconscious so that you become different, so you can stand and claim who you are
Yeah.
and own it regardless of the tap dance that the other person is doing. And so it's the empowerment stage is equally important to the healing stage. So the healing stage is about accessing the subconscious blocks and then
Mhm.
clearing. That's a two-part stage. And then once that's cleared, it's energy that's been removed. So now we have
Yeah.
this vacant space. And so it's important to fill it with the truth of our being. not with what anyone else thinks you should be or what you are, including me. It's
Mhm.
you discovering the divine within you and who
Yeah.
you truly are through that, because the block is what's getting in the way, and your connection to God will improve every single time you do that, which creates an improvement in your connection to all things. That's
Yeah.
true empowerment.
Yeah. I like that. I like that because in recovery, we talk about the God of your understanding, right? We're not my grandmother's, not my mother's, and a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people struggle with that because they want to do what they see their mother do, but there's something inside them might be calling them to have a spiritual or higher calling than just what their mother did. Though, how you help people like that, they can feel that there's something different about them on a spiritual level. They can't quite put a finger on it, because they was raised a certain way.
That's right, and I witness, I experience how everybody has their unique connection to God, whether you want to call it God, source, a higher power, the divine, great being, creator, whatever. We all have a unique experience, and everybody experiences God, the divine in their own unique way, in different
Hmm.
ways. No two people are the same, and you can say, well, it's one God, and we are all a part of God. We are all an aspect of the creator, and but we are all here to experience that, and listen to this, and express it in our own
Hmm.
unique ways.